Hello and welcome back to this playthrough for Khare, the city port of traps. This is for part 2. In our last video, we've just entered the city and discovered a werewolf in strange armor. When you're ready, go to the flag the next morning. Select pause to look around. Select look at the paths. Select look left. And select look right, and also select look ahead. As we're looking around, you're going to see a cart roll down from the road to our right, and on the back of the cart are several crates. One of the crates is going to teeter for a moment and then falls near our feet, with its lid cracking open. Select wave for the driver to stop. We wave to the driver, but unfortunately they don't see us. The cart rattles away up the road, and that means anything in the crate is open game. We notice a purple liquid leaking from the side of the crate. Select look in the crate. And kneeling down in the mud, we prise open the crate's lid, and we can see that there are several small bottles, which are bloomberry juices. Select take 4. And select continue. Go to the flag, turn right. Select look at the remaining hut. Select listen at the door. And select look ahead. Go to continue and go to the flag, the chainmaker. You push the door open and enter. It is dark inside. The floor is sawdust and the air smells of oil, polish and burnt metal. From the ceiling, hanging like ivory, are metal chains of all lengths and thickness, some suitable for machinery, some for oxen, and others for arms and feet. The chains shift and whisper to themselves. There seems to be no one here. There is another door beyond. Its door is hanging open. Go to the option, call out a greeting. You can ask the chainmaker about directions to the north gate if you want, but he won't give you any valuable information. Instead, I'd recommend to select look for a chain to buy. Select how much does it cost, and select I'll buy it. Select continue, and go to the flag, walk on. Now this is extremely important, as this is going to get us one of the lines for the spell needed to open the north gate. You have to have at least one ration. If you don't have any rations at all, you need to start the Khare playthrough again and not give any to Thomas, or just otherwise make sure you have at least one ration with you. Select stop to eat. We find a low stone to sit on, and we get a quantity of cheese and bread to eat. Select keep walking. And before we continue, we can see something sticking out from underneath the rock. Select pull it free. And select read the rest. Select examine the tear. And select walk on. I recommend to have a read of that note, as it comes from Mulus, who was one of the nobles of Khare, and it gives you some very interesting lore. It also gives you the first 3 words of one of the lines. I bid you something. Select continue, and go to the flag, the crowd. As we continue along the road, we're going to hear some noise ahead of us and a bunch of colourful flags which indicate there's a festival going on. Select approach, and select look around. Select continue, and go to the flag, the end of the midway. You can see there's a bunch of exciting stalls ahead of us. Select continue. And we're going to explore the first one. Go to the flag, small tent. We approach the small tent, and by the door a young elven woman is going to be collecting the entrance fee. 1 gold piece, she declares, winking at you. Ask her what's inside. She tells you that Marco the Amuser is inside, and that he is very funny. So let's pay her. And continue. Enter the tent. The inside of the tent is dark, and there are no candles or lanterns. In the centre of the floor is a man with green hair sitting cross-legged, his eyes closed. So let's greet the man. We say greetings, but he doesn't do anything. So let's look at the man. Again, he seems to be sitting very still, and the only noticeable thing about him is his green hair. So let's approach him. And then select cast a spell. The spell we'll be casting is Tell, so select T, E, L, and cast. We cast the spell, and to our surprise, we can see that he's laughing hysterically in his mind. He's obviously thinking this is some kind of trick, but we've got tricks of our own. So let's cast the spell again. And this time I'm going to cast the spell Doze. So select D, O, Z, and cast. Select grab his hair, and we take the wig from his head. He is not able to catch us in time due to the effects of our spell, and that's going to teach him to laugh at us. We step outside, and the elven woman's going to smile at us. Did you enjoy it, she asks. Select yes. Select continue, and go to the flag, middle of the midway. Select continue, and go to the flag, beer tent. This tent is by the river, surrounded by several stumbling figures. It could almost be a tent for dancing, except for the strong smell of brewed grain that drifts over the air. In the stall, a group of 3 half-goblin women are pouring mugs of beer and talking to the locals. And quite funnily, a sign over it says, 1 mug for 1 gold, 4 mugs for 6. Select the option, smell the air. It heals us a little bit, and one of the bartenders comes up to us. Nice, yes, she says, even nicer in a glass. Select talk to the bartender. Greetings, she says, what can I do for you? Ask her why 4 mugs is so expensive. She responds to you, oh no, it's a special offer, you see, 4 mugs for 6 gold. Respond to her, but that's more expensive than buying separately. She responds to you, oh, I see your mistake. It's a common one, we should fix the sign. But she doesn't explain any further. Now enough the hijinks, because just behind us we can hear 2 creatures walk past. So you say he wasn't dead when they buried him, says the first. Not quite dead, the other replies. Enough undead you could talk to him. Select, follow the conversation. You move away from the tent and listen closer. Nobles, the first creature remarks. Why can't they stay dead where they get dead? Couldn't agree more, the other replies. But at last they buried him anyway. 1 less noble for the boss to worry about. The creatures disappear into the crowd, and you keep a mental note of what they said. A moment later, a stocky dwarf is going to knock into us. Begging your pardon, he murmurs, before slipping away into the crowd. He's stolen 2 gold pieces from us, but unfortunately we won't be able to get it back. But not to worry, by the time we leave the city we'll have a lot more gold. Select leave the tent, and select look back. Looking back, we notice a pipe running from the tent directly into the river. It seems the beer isn't beer after all. It's a good job we didn't buy a mug. Select continue. And go to the flag at the top of the midway. Select continue. And go to the flag musicians. We join a crowd who are watching a troupe of dancers who spin and swirl in time to a lively tune. There is something quite hypnotic about the whole thing, and we decide we're going to add our own magic to the performance. Select cast a spell. And the spell we'll be casting is Jig. Select J, I, G, and cast. We cast our spell and begin to play our pipe. With the dancers already setting a wonderful mood, the spell's effects are magnified, and soon the entire crowd is dancing and jigging with each other. It is quite a sight. 100 of Khare's strange and wonderful creatures, all waving their arms and stomping their feet. After about half an hour, the crowd grows tired and wanders off arm in arm and claw to see the other attractions of the fair. One of the musicians approaches you. Nice work, he says. Not often we get a talented amateur for the thieves' dance. The crowd will think you are a stooge. Select the option, I enjoyed it. Glad to hear it, the man says, nodding, and he looks over you. Pack, sword, battle scars. You're not from Khare, are you? Not just here to enjoy the fair. Select, maybe you can help me. Maybe I can. And he drops down low to the dirt and puts out a hand. My name is Khare, and it's good to meet you. Select, shake his hand. So, he says, you helped us get enough coins to pay for our night. How can I help you? Ask him about the city nobles. Khare looks at you for a moment, clearly surprised, but not questioning you. Well, he says finally, you won't find them at a fair like this. They say Sansa's has been locked up at the council for the last few months, and as for the others, no one knows where they've gone. I'd try the other side of town. There's at least one big house that belongs to a noble. He's a scholar by the name of Lorag. Select thank him. He smiles at you. No, thank you. And listen, we're staying at the Meat and Cleaver by the docks, and I wouldn't recommend anywhere else. If you value freedom, I'll see you there. He winks and heads off into the crowd. From somewhere nearby, you catch the glimpse of a shadowy figure disappearing behind a tent. Something about the way it moves is familiar. So let's continue. And go to the flag, follow the figure. You follow the figure into a narrow gap, and suddenly there is a hand at your throat. I will kill you, breathes a voice you recognize. Select laugh of pleasure. It's Flanker, the assassin whose life you spared before you reached Torapani. Greetings, you declare enthusiastically. Flanker nods. He does not smile, but he seems pleased to see you nonetheless. Ah, my friend and enemy. I see, like myself, you also enjoyed the fun of the Festival of Thieves. And you look as hale as the moment you left me. Your journey has been uneventful so far, I trust. And how have you fared in Khare? Select well so far. Indeed so far, Flanker laughs. Quite so, as you have not had to face the portal traps. They will take your smile and move it to your throat, as we assassins say. Select portal traps. Flanker laughs. Do not fear, you have not missed out. You have only survived this fall because all the traps are on the other side of the river. He pauses to glance around him, as if waiting for something, but if so, he does not see it. I have a few minutes, he says. Tell me of your quest. How goes it? Select, the journey is long, but I am unbowed. Good, he nods. I am glad you are still no coward. To be defeated is a shame, but to be defeated by a creature without a spine is a torture. Select, tell me about these portal traps. He responds with, the portal traps were laid by the early rulers of Khare. Only the first noble has the power to position them and to disguise them, for portal traps can disguise themselves in plain sight. Select what kind of disguise. Anything. Any material, any size, but there is one feature that cannot change. They are always the same shape. With one finger, Flanker draws a perfect circle in the air. Select the option, I need to find a man named Lorag. Flanker thinks for a moment. I know him. He lives on the other side of the river, in the Jetto of the Red Eyes. He is the kind of fool that would live amongst such demons, but exactly where, I do not know. Select, I need to find a beggar who was a noble. Ah, Blind Teeter. I have heard he wanders the wastelands in Upper Khare, north of the river. There is an area where the city has collapsed, where beggars and ne'er-do-wells gather. You could try there. Select, I need to find the other nobles. You explain to Flanker that you were told by an innkeeper that they're the only ones who know the spell for the North Gate. Flanker nods. Indeed, this is true, but I don't know the city well enough to know where you might find them. Perhaps you might try to appeal to one of the Khare's gods. Select which god. Slang is not strong enough for such knowledge, I think. Though you could try a shrine between the well and the docks. Flanker replies somewhat carelessly. Otherwise Korga would know, but his temple is by the North Gate. He nods finally. But I must be away. Perhaps I will see you again later. I'll be drinking at the Wayfarer's Rest tonight in the docks. Join me if you will. You nod to Flanker and return to the main throng of the fair. From across the field, the dancing bear seems to have run amok. Certainly the crowd around the dwarf is shouting and fighting. The event seems to be closed. Click continue. Thanks to Flanker, we now have more information about the nobles, and now we know about the portal traps. Go to the flag, bare knuckle fighting. You cross the fairground to a wrestling ring. A ruffian inside is announcing the current challenge. People of Khare, are you ready for a fight? In the white corner we have our challenger, Anvar the Barbarian. The crowd cheers and whoops. Select the option, look over Anvar. Anvar is half as tall as you, but he has sheets of muscles on his arms and legs, but he is probably lighter than the ogre standing next to him. And in the black corner, the brawling champion of Khare, the one they call Skull Splitter, the ogre Kagu of Dadule. Select the option, look over Skull Splitter. The ogre looks as thick as any ogre you might meet, but he is made of solid muscle, his arms and legs like the twisted bark of trees. Challenger, are you ready? Demands the ruffian. Anvar nods and beats his chest. Select the option, place a bet. You find a wagerman by looking for his enormous hat, to which odds and returns are pinned on bits of cloth. Feeling lucky, are you? He chuckles with evident glee. His palms are sweating, and you notice he carries flick blades inside his sleeves. Place your money on me. Select, ask the odds. 3-1 on the challenger, he says. 1-3 on the champion. Select, place a bet. Select, bet on the barbarian. and bet 3 gold. We hand over 3 gold pieces to the bookkeeper and he makes a mark on his hat for the bet. Meanwhile in the ring, the fight has begun. The barbarian in the white corner growls and beats his chest. The ogre raises his fists into the air and shakes them. Let's give Anvar a bit of a hand. Go to the option Cast a Spell. And the spell we'll be casting is Doze. So select D, O, Z. And cast. And cast it on the ogre. The ogre is looking dizzy and slow and cannot seem to get a grip on his opponent properly. Anvar beats his chest and pounds the ogre heavily about the head. So far, Anvar is looking good. Let's give him some more help. Go to Cast a Spell again. And this time we're going to cast the spell Sap. Select S, A, P, and cast. Cast it over the ogre. We cast the enchantment over the ogre, who begins to look thoroughly miserable. The fight is firmly against Skullsplitter now. The two challengers go back and forth, but Anvar's getting the upper hand. Select the option, Wait and Watch. Select Wait and Watch again. And select Wait and Watch one more time. The fight is getting tense. Both combatants are clearly weakening. And finally, it's all over. With a single throw, Anvar the Barbarian powers forward and hurls Skullsplitter to the mat. The crowd goes wild. You find the bookkeeper to collect your winnings. You got lucky, sulks the bookkeeper. He hands over 12 gold pieces. Inside the ring, the Master of Fight raises the Barbarian's fist in the air. Who challenges our champion? The prize is 10 gold pieces. Select the option, Take up the challenge. Select Continue. And go to the flag, into the ring. The crowd parts and helps you into the ring. Under his breath, the Fight Master outlines the rules. A fair fight, no magic, and pound your opponent until they can't stand. Ready? Select the option, Look over the Barbarian. You look at Anvar. His muscles on his chest and arms are like sculpted wax. In the black corner then, the ruffian announces, is Anvar. In the white corner, the ruffian turns to you and hisses, What should I call you? Select the Analander. Pause the video and continue once you've won the fight. Once you've defeated Anvar, you stagger from the ring, the crowd cheering for you as you collect your winnings. Click Continue and go to the flag, Leave the fair. That's the end for part 2. I'll see you all in part 3.